Oh, they're looking good. The Flomax Pluses are mounted to the block. I got a bit carried away and I spent probably 3 hours cleaning all the pipes, the head, the block, everything I could get in degreased. The steering rack is all looking new. I've gone to town on it, but I like the way it looks. I'm a little bit weird like that. Guys, welcome to another episode of 060. Now, before we get into this video, which you guys know what it is because it's probably in the title, but I would really love some help. We have a secondary channel, Test and Tune. It's more nerdy stuff. It's not that exciting, but it is more technical DIY fixes, not all car stuff, and I'd really like to get that to 1,000 subscribers before the end of 2021. I'll put a link to the channel. If you can go and subscribe, it would be forever grateful because I know YouTube kicks it up again when we hit 1,000 subscribers, so that'll be good. Now, this video, we are doing a video on... Ignore that, that's for the next one, on these outlets. Now, if you're lucky enough to be in America or a country where you drive on the left-hand side of the vehicle, a left-hand drive car, you don't need to worry about this, but us right-hand drive guys really suffer with these N54 outlets. Now, this is a standard right-hand drive N54 outlet, and you can see how much it pinches down. I mean, it flattens out a bit, but still, you've got to squeeze the air through that gap. Now, huge restriction. I didn't realize how much of a restriction it was until we've witnessed what happened with Scott's car. Scott is the 19T car that you would have seen on the channel a fair bit. Now, when he first put his turbos on, he was expecting to be the same as the 17T car, maybe a little bit faster, which is fair enough. He's got bigger turbos. I kind of thought his car was going to be quicker as well. Long story short, he's been adding mods to that car, and he now has pretty much the same setup that I have. He's got port injection, he's got aftermarket coils, he is tuned by JSR, he has the 2.5-inch exhaust, but his car just doesn't seem to go as fast as mine. In fact, he's nearly a second off my 100 to 200 time. And it's an E92, it's an auto, it's crazy. The one thing he hasn't done is outlets. So I'm fairly confident that these stock outlets, when you're running 25 PSI sort of territory, they're a huge restriction, as you would expect. I know people say that the left-hand drive outlets are a restriction, and these are a hell of a lot worse. Now, my car just has a set similar to this here, but it's still a lot more closed up. And if you saw my video where I fitted my 17T cars, I still had to hammer them on to fit them in. What we've ended up doing with these ones, and I say we, these are done by Leeson Engineering down in Brisbane. What he's done, hopefully, is it going to sit there? We'll try and hold it. So we've changed the angle of this section here to move it away from the turbo a little bit. And what that has allowed him to do is open up this section a hell of a lot more. Now that there, I've had a test fit and I'm fairly confident we're going to be safe. It'll actually fit around the huge Flomax Plus manifolds, which are... they're bigger than the China turbos, and we've still got a fairly open area there, where my ones, I had to hammer them in, and we didn't have this big section at the back here either. The way he's done it, you might be able to notice, it's got an extra cut here, and that allows this bit to angle up a bit, extend the hose there, and you should be good to go. Now, these will be available for pre-order. In fact, I might make the link live tonight, and you can pre-order them, but it won't be dispatched until the new year, until I've tested these and made sure there is no issues, we don't melt any silicon, anything like that. Pricing-wise, they will be $275 Australian exchange, or $375 just to get it and bolt it on, and you don't need to send your other ones back. Right, now let's get to the cool part. Let's see if they're going to fit, because although I've done a test fit off the car, it's always a different story when it's on the car. And of course, this big section here is going to be close to the steering rack. So let's see how close it all gets. All right, I thought I'd give you guys a bit of an update. I'm an hour into fitting inlets. What a joke. And look at my hands, cut to shreds. But we're getting there. I did have to clock the V-band on the turbo because I thought I'd clocked it enough, but it was still touching. It's fitted, or the back section is fitted. The V-band is nearly as tight as it needs to go, but we can still pivot it. And I just thought I'd share how much movement we've got before it hits something. So if I go down, that is now the outlet hitting the water pipe. And if I go up, that is the outlet hitting the turbo manifold. So it's very, very close, but we have got a little bit of play. And because we've now got a longer silicon join on the join section, I don't know if the GoPro can see it, just there, we can adjust it a little bit. Now the motor, because we're hanging off an engine crane at the moment, it is over this way a little bit. So hopefully when it's down on the engine mounts, the clearance to the chassis rail should improve. But don't quote me on that. We'll have to wait until it's down on its engine mounts, which hopefully will turn up this afternoon. But let's get the front section on and see how it lines up. Gosh, she's big. Also, you might be able to catch it on the GoPro. I went and got some heat wrap. So this is adhesive heat wrap. It was bloody expensive for this little roll, like 50 bucks. And I've put a little square section just on the inside where it's super close to the manifold, exhaust manifold here. I know a lot of people entirely wrap the outlets. My theory is, based on no scientific testing, the problem with wrapping them is it won't radiate the heat away when you're cruising off boost. So obviously you get a lot of airflow through this whole area, down through here. Obviously got exhaust and everything, but the air's coming from the front and going down backwards when you're driving. And if they're wrapped, you're not going to get that cooling effect of the ambient air passing over them. They're just going to be insulated. And obviously they will make a lot of heat internally when they're under boost. My thoughts are having some insulation there on that side will help keep the heat from the exhaust getting into the outlet, but it'll still be able to cool with the airflow going over it. Let me know your thoughts below. I know most people just wrap them, but I don't think wrapping them is the right thing to do in this case when you've got airflow from driving. Anyway, different if it was just a drag car, but when you've actually got a lot of air going through the engine bay, obviously, it's got to cool it a little bit. And let's face it, BMW would have wrapped them if the wrapping would have helped. Anyway, right, let me get the front section on. I'm pooped. Well, they are in. It took me much longer than it should have. Basically, because these have never been on a car before, I was repositioning them a few times and getting to that front, I can't even see it with the light, but getting to that front like V-band clamp, it's so tight. Long story short, I repositioned the rear and the front as much as I could to make clearance just here. Now I will show a clip taken from above so you can see the sort of clearance that we're dealing with, but it is tight. Something to keep in mind, the engine is not on its engine mounts. It is just dangling in free air, and I'm not exactly sure where it's going to sit. I'm hoping when it sits on the engine mounts that's going to change, but we won't know until it is up. Well, until the subframe's up. I think the steering rack is going to be okay clearance-wise, because once this goes up, it's 6 inches. This will come up and it should actually push it away from this. And again, hopefully with the engine over a bit. But I'm still going to put the pre-order up on the website. I like to live dangerously. Just keep in mind, if there are fitment issues, which we'll know when the engine mount arrives. In fact, let me just show you. This is the engine mount that came out of this car, and it's gone. The correct one, the replacement didn't turn up today, unfortunately, which is a bit annoying, but hopefully it'll be here tomorrow. I did pay for overnight freight, but just overnight freight this close to Christmas is not overnight freight. And yeah, long story short, once I get the engine mount and I get the subframe back up, if there are any fitment issues, it'll just delay them getting dispatched. So if you do put a pre-order in, just bear in mind it might be a couple of weeks to get the fitment sorted if there are any issues, but I'm hoping it's going to be fine. Guys, I'm going to end it off there. Once I got that engine mount, I get the subframe back up, downpipes on, and even the downpipes, I can't really align them until I got the subframe because everything gets super close. But tomorrow I will get onto fitting the transmission cooler, which is what this little thing is here. And also, I've got to get a 7-inch intercooler on this car because it did only have a 5.5-inch or 6-inch intercooler. So there'll be another update in a day or so. But until then, thank you all for watching. It's getting there. I'm getting excited to run some serious boosts through these Flomax turbos. They are so well put together. Man, it just looks so good. Boost is incoming. Fastness is coming. I cannot wait. And I'm looking forward to actually putting drag mode through its paces. All right, thank you very much for watching. Any questions about anything that you've seen today, hit me in the comments below. Again, if you can go and subscribe to our Test and Tune channel, I would be ecstatic if we can get that to 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2021. Guys, thank you very much for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.